right, which way can you make more money, or which way is better? An employee, self-employed. Hopefully I can keep this kind of short and to the point. So I think everybody knows the difference. An employee, you work for somebody, you go to work, you show up, you work your hours, you go home, done. When you're self-employed, you work probably at least twice as much as you do when you work for somebody, okay? When you're an employee, based on everything I've heard, talked to people, everything I know about it, I've been self-employed my entire career, adult life. So when you work for someone, typically your wages are capped out, whatever the standard wages are for your trade that you're looking into. You're gonna hit a capping point physically doing the work, unless you move up into like office or sales and things like that. You also, the benefit is you don't have to worry about selling the work, right? Typically, depending on the size of the company you work for, you show up, you go to work, you go home. Obviously, it's still a trade, it's still construction, you have slow times. But you don't have that other stress of the paperwork, dealing with the customers all the time, waiting to get paid. You just get your check every 2 weeks, every week, whatever it is. You can get benefits, right? Health insurance, retirement accounts, all those things. Sometimes you get a take-home car, vehicle, truck, whatever it is that your boss lets you take home. Sometimes you don't. You're not paying for the gas to drive around to the job. When you're self-employed, big advantage is you can make as much money as you really want, depending on how much you put into it, right? You want to work long hours, work them. You're going to make more money. Your employee's going to get paid overtime, employee or employees. When I say, self-employed also, I'm more talking like the smaller businesses, right? Maybe 4 employees, something like that. Kind of on the smaller side. When you're self-employed, as the owner, you're paying your own health insurance. That's very expensive. Very expensive. You're paying for the gas. You're paying for the maintenance on the trucks. You're paying for the payroll. You're paying for the workers' comp. All the insurance that you have to have. You're paying if you have an office space, a yard to store stuff. You're buying all the trucks. Then you also need to have operating capital, right? Probably somewhere between 20 and 50 grand, depending on your pain tolerance level of, and your budget and your bills. That's the other thing you have to do, is you have a lot more accounting, keeping track of materials and all your write-offs, all of it. It's a lot. The benefit is you don't have to ask for vacation time off. You don't have to show up technically at a certain time, right? If you don't show up, you're not going to make money and get paid. But this saying of, oh, you're self-employed, oh, you get to work whenever you want. No, if I don't go to work, I don't get paid either. So there's that. Let me think, what else? Again, being an employee, let's say, you're capped, let's say in your industry, 75,000. I'll use my industry, right? Let's say a residential fencing, an employee is pretty much, as top tier foreman level, $35 an hour, maybe 40 doing residential work. So let's say the high side is 40, right? That's the high. Like, I'm going high. What is that? $1,600 a week before taxes, right? Where if you have 1 to 4 employees as the owner, you can make 150 to 400 grand a year, 500 grand a year. It just depends on how you bid in this industry. And this is me talking to a lot of people that do the same thing I do. I would say average for that size company, 1 to 4 employees, you're probably going to bring in $250,000 a year, give or take. So when you compare that to being the employee on the high side of the employees, like the top guy of the job sites, $1,600 a week compared to what would $240 be? $5,000 a week? Big difference, right? So that's a huge difference. If you want to make more money, in my opinion, and that's your goal, is to make a lot of money and kind of have more freedom, start a small business. Go work for somebody maybe to learn the trade that you're looking into, get your licenses that you need to, certifications, whatever it is, and then slowly start your own business, right? It doesn't take a lot to start your own business when it's just you. This goes back to one of my other videos. Buying a truck instead of a car. Kind of set yourself up for that in the beginning. Buying some tools slowly, so when you decide, I want to go out on my own, you don't have to go drop $30,000 between a truck and tools, right? Random number there. You obviously can do it for less. You can get a $10,000 truck and all that. The other big thing is, let's say, as an employee, you make $75,000, right, before tax. And as an employer, as a business owner, let's just use the same numbers, right? You make $75,000. You get to write off a lot more as a business owner than you do as an employee. Employee, you really get no write-offs, tax write-offs. So you're probably gonna get another, maybe 20 grand. Let's say you go out and buy a $20,000 truck. You can depreciate it over so many years and take smaller write-offs, or you can, if you pay cash, you can write it off year one. Boom, gone. So you made 75, now guess what? You only get taxed on 55. You just saved some money in taxes. Now, I'm not saying to go out and spend money, a bunch of money to save on taxes, but that's where a CPA will, can kind of give you an idea. But that's a huge benefit. And there's a lot of other pros and cons, right? I've gone back and forth of which way's better and this and that. But if you're looking at starting and getting into it and doing the trades, construction for 15, 20 years, being self-employed is nice, right? It has a little more stress. You're going to work more hours, but you are going to make probably twice as much, at least twice as much as you would if you were an employee. So, for anybody thinking I don't make enough, I make 50 grand a year, 80 grand a year, doing whatever your trade is, start trying to get some side work, if you have all the certifications to do it, and slowly build that up. And you'd be shocked how quick you can make your weekly wage working for yourself. Like what you make in a week working for somebody compared to working for yourself. You can probably make that same wage you make in a week in a day. Maybe two, right? I'm not saying right away, but pretty quick. It really only takes a couple things in construction to put you above everybody else. Show up on time, communicate with customers, and do what you say you're gonna do. And if your work is amazing, great. If your work's middle of the road, you're still gonna get the job over the guy that does great work, but doesn't communicate with customers, doesn't show up, and doesn't do what he says he's gonna do. So, hope the video helps anybody, that's questioning, should I start my own business or not? So, all right. Thanks for watching. God bless. We'll see you on the next one.